We're going to go ahead and call the meeting back to order with the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Any question or discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? The next item is the Pledge of Allegiance and Invocation. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Our Maker, we realize that we're in tough times right now, and we're asking for your advice. We're asking to be able to show each member of this board and our superintendent love, to be able to hold hands together, to be able to walk together, and to be able to know that we are here for our kids. Let us sow this love, and let us begin with it now. Amen.
Amen. Next, we have discussion items. The first discussion item is the COVID-19 preparation updates by Dr. Sam Mills, Chief of Staff.
Thank you, Kevin. Good evening, members of the board, Chair Woodbury, Dr. Hairston. I am going to provide a brief update for you of the work that we've been doing around COVID-19. In actuality, we started preparing for COVID-19 about 3 weeks ago. We pulled a team together from leaders across the district. We brought in principals, and we've collaborated with other districts, health department, and of course leaders throughout the state. So this work has been ongoing. Actually, last Monday, a week ago, we pulled in leaders from each of our school-based leaders, school-based staff, and had 317 total trained on Power School Learning, which is our online platform or learning management system to get them prepared for going to an e-learning option if we needed to in the event of a school closure. It has a double benefit because e-learning, the Power School Learning platform, is just good teaching practice that parents can access and students can access at home. And so it was a good opportunity for us to push that out early. In addition, we've been updating the website daily. Brent's communications team has been pushing out etiquette around coughing into your elbow, social distancing, and washing your hands frequently. And that communication has really been taking place for over 2 weeks at this point. Here's just some pictures of getting our staff together. We really had a great group of folks who were planning diligently for bringing back into their staff how they would continue to communicate and roll out e-learning options. So as we all know, the governor closed schools for the week for March 16th to March 30th. And our buildings are going to be open from 10 to 2 daily for meal pickup. This is breakfast and lunch. And it is for anyone ages 0 to 18. Come in, get a meal, and adults are also encouraged and invited to eat at cost, $1 for breakfast and $2 for lunch. And today being the first day we did this and just getting this up and running, we had almost 1,200 meals served today. And so we are excited about this, and we really expect to continue to see this increase as people find out about it. And then, of course, this week we are picking up our delivery of meals as well, so we're going to take the food out into the community. So we will look forward to updating you daily with our numbers about meals provided. So on March 18th, so this Wednesday, we will be open for device pickup. So we started last week contacting students. We had a survey, and families could drop in the number of children in their household that needed a device, and that we will provide Chromebooks for those students. Kevin will share the most updated numbers, but we also sought information on who needed a Wi-Fi access in their homes. And we have been working on being able to provide that. Again, Kevin will get into some more details about the options and what that looks like, but we are really pleased with being ahead of the curve on this and asking in advance to get support for our students so that they have resources at their fingertips when e-learning will start on Thursday. So again, we're very excited about this. So the teachers are spending the next 3 days preparing, building out activities for students, and then Thursday in earnest, they'll really start the instruction online for students. Our call center is something that we wanted to update you on. This was an idea that kind of took place of just giving the parents a resource, a place to go to get questions answered, have a live voice on the phone, and this has really blown up. From 8 to 5, the lines are open. We started them yesterday, and we had 661 calls. Today, we had almost 1,800 calls. I've never worked in a call center, and it was pretty phenomenal to see just the volume turning over. We had 6 Spanish interpreters or speakers on the line to take calls, and everything from how do I get access to a device, I can't fill out the form, and just general questions. And so we really were supportive of this. We've got a sign-up going that central office will man this call center for the next 2 weeks for continue to take calls. And our staff in central office really rallied around this to be able to provide the support for families. So just a general update on our e-learning. So staff have been building out their content since about the 9th, so over a week, and they're continuing to do that Monday through Wednesday this week. Again, Thursday, the e-learning will begin. So for our younger students, kindergarten to 2nd grade, we're calling it non-technical learning activities and resources. So this is really not putting students on the computer or early learners. These are interactive activities that we're asking parents and caregivers to do with children. We are not handing families a packet of worksheets and saying, have your kindergarten fill this out and return it in 2 weeks. This is really about engaging children with the adults or the older children in the home. So our Office of Early Learning worked really hard to put this together. I don't know if you've seen on Twitter, but there are videos of staff going through Heggerty and working with students. So there are a lot of resources we've put together in a short period of time. So a lot of questions have come in about what our support staff will be doing, folks like counselors, parent engagement folks, social workers, and they're really going to be dedicated to ensuring that our students and families have the support that they need while we're closed. So they're going to be doing things like reaching out to families when students aren't logging in to the Power School Learning page, making sure families have the devices they need, that they're informed and aware of the feeding sites. And so they're really going to continue sort of the work they're doing. They're just going to take it into the community. And then finally, teachers, we have lots of platforms that can support instruction during these next few weeks. But teachers will use our main platform, Power School Learning, Google Hangout to connect with their colleagues if they want to plan together. That way they can keep the social distance but continue to have that professional interaction. We have teachers who are setting up opportunities to call in or Zoom meetings with students so that they're still having that face-to-face instructional time to continue those connections. So we're excited about this. We feel like we have a system in place to support ongoing instruction over the next few weeks as we learn more about what will come next. But our communication department has really stepped up and done a phenomenal job. We've had daily phone call briefings with principals. In fact, there's one going on right now. We stay in communication daily with our management group to update them with the changes at the state and the federal level. And we have kept a document of frequently asked questions that we continue to update and bring back to them. We've been utilizing our Blackboard Connect to do phone calls home to staff and families, and we've gotten feedback on those that they've been really helpful, informing of things like the feeding sites and where to go for resources and the device and Wi-Fi hotspot survey. Our hotline started this week, and here's the contact number and information. And then our website has really been what we keep driving staff to because we have been updating it consistently with our frequently asked questions, with resources for parents. We have it in multiple languages. And this is where if you just have general questions for what the school system's doing, all your information should really be on this one site. And so we just hope that families are continuing to take advantage of going through because Brent's team has done such a phenomenal job pulling it all together in one spot. And of course, any questions you all might have about our preparations for the word of the week is unprecedented, this unprecedented event.
I don't have a question, only a comment that the work that's been done by this district is truly unprecedented and has absolutely floored me with how good and comprehensive and kind all the planning has been. So I can't thank you enough for all the amazing work you have done together.
Dr. Harrison's words have been, we have really a phenomenal team. who've rallied around this and worked long hours to make sure we're doing the right thing for our students. And so it's been rewarding to be a part of.
Sam, in the communications piece, what, as board members, I know you have shared it on social media and that sort of thing, but just feedback for us, what can we contend, and I think what can we do, to Sam or Dr. Harrison, what can we do as board members to make sure that we're sharing accurate information and with the community?
Right, so we update our website every day, and if we could direct folks there, and any miscommunication, if we could direct everyone to Brent Campbell.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of misinformation, so he tries to be ensure that we stay in touch with the public. So Brent, and then our website is updated daily.
Thank you.
I just want to say a big thank you to everybody, to our staff, to our teachers, to everybody that's worked so hard together. I've listened on TV to several of our other cities and what they were doing, and I just thought when I was listening to what they were doing, how quickly we pulled everything together. And I think, honestly, we've been a model to a lot of the other cities surrounding us in what we've done and how quickly we've done it. So hurrah to our staff, hurrah to our superintendent who has pulled this together in a quick way. And I just want to say thank you to everybody that's put their best foot forward. Sam, you also. So Brent, I know I even saw you when I was on the treadmill, and I said, what do I need to ask you? What can I do? So I want to say thank you to everybody.
Oh, go ahead.
I'll say thanks as well, and I just think it's amazing to see everyone in the school system totally change their normal way of doing anything. Bus drivers, cafeteria workers, central office workers, everybody has had to adjust and be fluid and flexible, and everybody's just done it, from the superintendent all the way down, and that's amazing, and that shows that we have amazing folks, and our children are in good hands.
I would also just like to further echo what the other board members are saying, in addition to just applauding our community with all of their support and their request to help in any way that they can. I have had so many people from different organizations contact me, Shay, how can we volunteer to get food out to our children? And so it just makes me feel proud to be a part of this community. And I think that at this time, I just ask that our community in this school district, that we're patient with each other right now, because I think everybody is starting to have overload and less patience and a bit, I would say, short-tempered. And this is not the best time to make a lot of full decisions, but what I will say is that if we continue to support one another, uplift one another, and just be patient and kind with one another during this time, then I think that we will, as always, excel beyond our challenges and, these stress points. And I would just ask that this community just stay focused like we are on the children. And I think, everything will play itself out in a way that we all can say we have overcome. So, Sam, thank you.
My pleasure.
The next discussion item is the purchase of Wi-Fi hotspot subscription by Kevin Sherrill, our Chief Technology Officer. Yes.
If I can get this on. Today ended our e-learning survey at 5 o'clock, and
Okay.
we did update the request. It's a little higher than what we sent you earlier, because we've had more students make the request. The funding, as you will see, is there, but I just want you to know you'll see a different figure requesting your approval for these devices.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair Woodbury, board members, and Dr. Harrison. So as to echo what Sam has said, we've been wide open, to say the least, on all things to support these efforts. And I wanted to share to you what we're doing to offer Wi-Fi internet hotspot capability for our students that don't have that. We are doing this to support the e-learning efforts that we're getting ready to kick off. And we have been surveying, as Dr. Harrison said, our families for the past 6 days. And just to share that data that we just finalized, we ended the form at 5 o'clock. And we know we're going to probably have some requests after that. But as it stands right now, we've had 18,091 students request a Chromebook. So we've got 18,091 of those to roll out. And we've had 4,001 requests for internet hotspot capability from our students. And so that's going to be my focus of the discussion now is around the hotspot capability and how we're going to tackle that. We have partnered with a company called Khajiit. Khajiit is a national company that provides internet hotspot devices that carry the best wireless signal, LTE signal, Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, those things, and it's geared specifically for K-12 education. So it has some things built into the service that it's filtered through SIPA compliant, through our Child Internet Protection Act compliance through the federal government, has a built-in filtering system. It also has a time frame on it to where it's only active from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. That way it's not active when children should be sleeping instead of working on the internet. It also has a data cap of 500 megabytes per day, and we feel like that will be adequate to do the work that they need to do through Power School Learning and the activities. So we are partnering with this company. We have currently, we're working towards acquiring the 4,000 devices that we need, and we'll show you the cost of that in just a moment. We've been placing some orders along the way to get things moving, and we've had to structure a contract, well, not really a contract, but an agreement with them, and I want to explain how this worked. The way that their company works is that they do not charge you for the device, they charge you for the subscription. It's $14.95 per device per month. But they expect a 12-month commitment. And the fact that we are tackling this with our Title IV dollars, we asked for a 3-month commitment. In order to get the 3-month commitment to take us to June 30th, they expected a 12-month commitment for next year. So what we have to propose to you right now is 15 months of these devices to carry us through this year, but we'll have them for the entire academic calendar next year to use in various ways for students that need access in the home to support e-learning, to support summer school, to support all types of other activities that our students that do not have connectivity. We've got a 15-month agreement with what we're sharing with you tonight. Needed to commit to that for them to break the billing across 2 budget cycles as well. So that's why we're moving into a 3.5-month window and an 11.5 months, going into next year. So just want to be transparent about that piece of it. So speaking of Title IV, so actually this is the wrong one. I thought I didn't. My apologies, the one I uploaded is not. Let me refresh and bring up the right one. I was changing this on the fly.
We have the right one.
No, I didn't get it right here for some reason. I put it in symbol. Let me see if I'm good now. I'm good now, actually.
It's just we're hit or miss. It's like 700.
Let's see if this is the most current data. Okay, it is. So to carry us on the 4,000 devices through June 30th, at the rate that I told you is $239,162. And then to carry for the next academic year will be another $785. So our total commitment over the 15 months is $1,024,982. So roughly $1 million commitment for Title IV across two budget cycles of Title IV, mind you. And we've had a good bit of carryover there. This slide, we currently have $1.5 million unencumbered in Title IV due to carryover from last year, due to some various reasons that we haven't budgeted the money completely for this calendar year. Title IV not only focuses on technology, but also well-rounded students, and there's one other goal area that escapes me right now, but this is our approach to provide this type of connectivity to support e-learning, and we're just bringing it to you tonight for your approval to move forward with the hotspot access.
I mean, I know.
Questions?
I know tonight we're doing this based on our dollars that we have, but I'm just wondering if there's been some conversations, and maybe this will come later down the line, but when a crisis like this happens in a state, with some of these things that are happening, would there be, as on any of those conference calls with the governor's office or those kinds of things, has there been discussion about opportunity to try to help districts cover some of these costs?
Yes, ma'am. So two things will happen. These devices are at no cost to us. We're paying the fee, of course. And so we'll have them arrive to us, and they're not activated until we actually get the fee approved. So what will happen, students, when they pick up their laptops, we have 18,000 Chromebooks that we'll distribute to students beginning tomorrow and Wednesday. Those students will receive information about free or discounted Wi-Fi. There are several companies that offer free and discounted Wi-Fi, and they will receive that information. Some parents will proceed in making those decisions and good choices, and that they can afford, and we will be delighted for that. Those that cannot afford this, we will, when those devices do arrive, we'll begin to pass out those devices. Remember, they're not really coming to us as a fee until they're activated. So now we have 4,000 requests. We would like to have your permission to cover the request. However, if it ends up 3,000 requests, we'll be a little bit better. We also thought, what a pretty positive unintended consequence, because now we could possibly have children having access for the next year just to see how they do, because obviously they have survived without access, which is really a shame to know. Our goal, because of where we are now, and we have to have these to carry on learning, is to place these in our disaster relief category of funding, and for that period of time through June 30th, request reimbursement.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Harrison. I had failed to move to the next slide, but yes, she is correct. Spectrum is offering some 60-day free, first 2 months free, but AT&T also has a program that I've promoted to families for years. But if our families are on supplemental nutrition programs, their AT&T has a low-cost internet program as well, that we can re-advertise that as an option for some of those families. So that's what I have. Is any questions about the devices or our process? And
Sounds good.
thank you so much.
Thank you for really stepping outside of the box and thinking of some creative ways to handle this. This is really impressive.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next discussion item is policies and administrative regulations during COVID-19 pandemic by our General Counsel, Deon Jenkins.
Good evening, Board.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So, as you all know, the work that we do in this district on a daily basis, much of the work that we do in this district on a daily basis is governed by policies. And so in times like this, in crisis and emergency situations, oftentimes it calls for waivers or emergency flexibility to be able to take action to protect the children and our staff from further spread of the coronavirus. And so as an action item later tonight, we're asking for the board to approve language that would allow the superintendent flexibility in being able to take action during this time, and to be able to waive policies and ARs so that immediate action can be taken in further protection of students and staff. Examples of policies that might need to be waived during this time, policy 3330, which is our contract administration policy, specifically with regard to the limitations on certain contracts having to come to the board for approval prior to execution. Policy 510 is our attendance policy for students. Obviously, with this e-learning program that we have, and who knows what may happen after the next 2 weeks, there may need to be some flexibility in excusing absences. If families report that their students are ill, obviously we don't want them to be bringing them to school when we resume school, or depending upon what happens with the state. So having some flexibility in waiving some of those attendance regulations. Our student evaluation policy pertains to testing and grade reporting. The staff is considering making some temporary suspensions with regard to third quarter report cards, as well as there are some attendance-related exam exemptions that may need to be waived in the interest of students for being absent during this time. Policy 611 is our school calendar policy. Waivers in this area probably will be in line with, hopefully, waivers that will come from the state with regard to the school calendar. But being able to have that flexibility to waive those days and make other adjustments would be beneficial. Likewise, the school day for students. If we go to an e-learning platform, obviously there will require some changes in that regard. The rest of these are administrative regulations, which are superintendent-driven, but we wanted to pose these to you so that you'll be aware that these ARs may need to be waived or adjusted or modified in the meantime in light of this emergency situation that we're in. And so that's the teacher work schedules, AR, attendance and makeup work, grade reporting regulations, and local assessments. We are actually, the staff has recommended suspending our local check-ins, which we have the ability to do. They're not required by the state, so suspending those assessments.
And so what we proposed as a guideline was because we're in the midst of planning when we were trying to work with our principals, for example, on the check-ins. It became apparent that was a stressor for a lot of our teachers and students without access. And so we'd like to have permission to proceed, but what I would want to and feel most comfortable with, if it's financial, we would still reach out to you before we made those final decisions. And if it was relative to students and evaluations, Sam, Dr. Mills, or I would send you an email updating you daily on anything we've waived. So you would still be in the communication loop, it just we wouldn't have to call this meeting before we proceeded. And this would be for the duration of our challenges here, our delay in our regular schedule.
Well, I would say, I mean, initially reading, I thought, well, this seems like a little bit of overstep and a little overkill, only because we are a body of 9 and it's pretty quick to assemble us together. But then I think that in this uncharted waters, things are changing so rapidly daily. This afternoon, I'm walking through the lobby in my office and see the president saying, it's recommended now that you stay in groups of 10 or less. And
Yes.
so
Last
here we
night it was
are,
50.
we're not, and it went from 100 to 50 to 10. And so, anyway, that being said, I think that had changed my mind on this process, that this was just, things are moving too quick and we need to make the right choices. And so, and I think keeping us abreast of if there are dollars associated with it and that sort of thing, and we can be informed by email, so.
And I appreciate the clarity in the way it's written, that it's as necessary in response to potential risks associated with the coronavirus. So thank you for stipulating that.
And at first I thought, oh my gosh, is our superintendent going to be responsible for everything there is? And I thought, boy, she's really asking for a lot. But when you say finances and things like that and clarify it like we just did, I appreciate you doing that.
I would just like to thank this board for being so diligent and committed to making sure that we operate in the best way possible, that we work hand in hand with our superintendent so that we can cooperate and run our district in a way that is successfully done. That's first. Secondly, I thought, well, what are the other school districts around the country doing at this time as it relates to this uncharted territory with possibly, some school boards like, oh, we're going to give our power away to the superintendent. And that's just, a natural concern. But as I look through the country, for instance, Austin Independent School District, the board unanimously approved a resolution granting the superintendent the powers after about an hour of private discussion and executive session at an emergency meeting, which is where we are right now, on Friday night, March 13, to ensure the district administration could act swiftly to the rapidly changing pandemic. They also authorized their superintendent $100,000. I know we're not taking it that far, but some some boards are. Then we have in the let's see, the ENS Independent School District Board, on March 14th, the board passed a resolution effectively delegating authority to Superintendent Tom Leonard to take mitigative actions when necessary during the ongoing coronavirus situation that moved, Leonard said, will provide the district with the ability to be more agile. Of course, then we have in Cumberland County, right here in North Carolina, the Cumberland County Board of Education held an emergency meeting this morning, and this was on March 13th, to authorize the use of emergency powers by the superintendent in response to COVID-19, and it explicitly gave the right of the superintendent to make lawful actions deeming necessary to promote the safety and well-being of Cumberland County schools. Again, this board gave their superintendent excess of $90,000 to, you know, to enact contracts. The board specifically authorized the superintendent to modify existing school calendars, et cetera, which we just saw, of course, being proposed to us. And so, of course, I'm sure most of you already know Gifford County and Wake County have also given their superintendents the authority in order to make decisions in a timely manner for the well-being of our community. So I think that with, you know, all of that being said, I hope that this community understands that in light of our circumstances, we are really in line with what's going on throughout our country to provide for the well-being of our school district.
I would also like to say that if the board had had to be involved with all of the planning that the superintendent and senior staff did to prepare for this, it would never, ever have turned out as well as it did. They did an amazing job, and I have so much confidence in their ability to manage our dollars and our decisions well.
I want to say that the superintendent and her team have done an outstanding job in coming together with a plan for our district to make sure that our students, our employees, and our district community is safe. We are in uncharted territories. These are unprecedented times, and I know that we have to do things different. We have to operate in a way that we have not operated before. I am in agreement with making decisions and waiving everything that is on the list to waive, with the exception of policy 3330, giving the superintendent the authority to contract without board approval. We have been available throughout this entire process. We've been on the phones, texting back and forth. When we were asked to come for a closed session meeting, we agreed immediately without hesitation. And I've watched the board during the time that I've been on the board respond the same way. This situation we're in right now is more serious than any situation any of us have ever seen in our lifetimes. And I know that this board will continue to make themselves available at any moment, at any time necessary. And I, for one, would like to be in the know and be able to make decisions regarding money, especially with the situation that we're in now as a board. We're not certain about our money. We've been asking questions for months, trying to find out where we stand, what do we actually have, and as recent as last Tuesday in our work session meetings, 7 of us asked those same questions. So I think that right now we really need to be on top of what is going on. And I have a question. Have we thought about doing a building analysis, a cost savings analysis to see what we stand to gain financially by closing our buildings until the 30th of March? Have we taken into consideration those monies? There are so many conversations that we can have so that we can think about what money might be available to this district. Thank you.
First, I'd like to make it clear to the board and to the public that we provide the board a monthly report on our finances. And our budget this annual fiscal year are in order, and we provide monthly budget reports to our so we have no challenges in those areas. You're speaking to an audit that is not complete, but that was before my time, audit from last year. And we have provided the rationale behind why that audit is late is because we're the only ones in the state providing dental coverage for retirees. We've met with the Board of Education at the state level, and again, that was before my time, and we do try to stay on top of that. But our finances are right where we think they need to be for this fiscal year. And our buildings will remain open throughout March 30th. Dr. Mills shared with you some of the, and I shared with you all via email that all staff will be on board through the 30th in order to support children and technology and capacity to work, while also feeding children in our buildings. So there will be no cost savings there. Now, there will be some cost savings when it comes to perhaps fuel for buses, but you might recall we're going to use our buses to provide food for children. So we're keeping a close eye on those things, and those will be reflected in your monthly budget and finance report that we give every time at the committee meeting. Thank you.
Well, specifically, we've asked about the fund balance, and we have not been able to find out what we have.
That was before my time, but we'll get that at the audit for sure.
And on Tuesday, in addition to the fund balance, we asked about specific line item information regarding Title II and other funds, and we were told we would receive it in April. So again, that's my hesitation. Thank you.
I did just want to clarify, just to make sure that all board members are on the same page. The policies that I reviewed on the previous slide were not the only ones that we're recommending be waived. Those are just examples of the more common ones that may need to be waived because there are specific attendance and other coronavirus implications on those. The recommended language, and again, this is, of course, you can decide to do something different, but the recommended language is that the board authorize the superintendent in consultation with the county health department and health officials to take any lawful action and to temporarily waive board policies as necessary in response to potential risks associated with the coronavirus, with the understanding that the superintendent would continue to keep the board informed of any such actions. And the purpose of this measure would be to enable the superintendent to act expeditiously as necessary to implement appropriate response measures. And then the Board of Education would agree to indemnify and defend and hold harmless the superintendent with respect to any decision made in good faith pursuant to this action. So I did just want to clarify in case there were questions about that. I do also just want to note that if there are some questions about the contract administration policy, there is already provision in the policy that gives the superintendent authority up to $100,000. So wanted to there were a couple of questions about that, so I just wanted to respond to that specifically as well.
And I would assume, as the superintendent's been doing up to this point, that as soon as those things are done, or if they are necessary to be done expeditiously, that she will let us know, as she's been doing within probably a few hours.
And I also wanted to ask, just for my clarification, Dr. Hairston, as a former educator and when schools were and have been closed in the past, when we don't have classrooms that are occupied or offices that are occupied, the lights and the heat or the air is cut off in those areas. Will that be the case?
We'll get Mr. Walker to respond to how he's going to manage that. Right now, we have staff in buildings, but we'll get him to respond to that. Thank you.
Good evening. Right now, I think we're trying to determine how many people are going to be in the building or how many people are going to work from home. That'll determine that. I think at that point that there may be opportunities to close wings down where you can cut air off in certain areas, and your utilities, our custodial staff still going to be there. We're going to ramp up a lot of cleaning over this next few weeks. So there'll be some, but we may offset some of that with some evening cleaning that we're going to do. But there will be some opportunity to possibly do that once we understand what staff's going to stay and what staff's going to work from home.
And I think that It's probably hard to try to compare this situation with what we do over the summer because we know certain people will be gone over a certain amount of time. But with this situation, it's just from day to day, hour to hour. We just
Kind of fluid, people coming and going all the time.
yeah, exactly. So I understand that I guess the model could be what we do over the summer, but it's so fluid that we probably shouldn't bet on it. Absolutely not.
We can reset our temperature settings a little bit, you know, so that at least it's comfortable in the building, but still may not be 75, it might be 72 or something of that nature. So we can make some adjustments on temperature.
And, excuse me, and as far as buses, because we were talking about gasoline and traveling throughout the district to pick up students as opposed to going to one location to provide the hot spots for the next couple of days and then the meals, how many buses are we using?
Looks like tomorrow we're going to use 16 buses to run for delivering meals. And then we'll kind of monitor that as we go along over the next few weeks. But right now, tomorrow, we have routed 16 buses.
As compared to how many do we usually run each day?
About 340.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions or discussion for Dion? Okay. The next order of business is the action items. Action item 1 is to consider waiver of policies and administrative regulations during COVID-19 pandemic as requested by the superintendent. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? The next item is
May
to
I speak,
consider
Chair
approval.
Woodbury?
Well, we've already voted on
thank
that
you.
item. Thank you. The next item is to consider approval of purchase of Wi-Fi hotspot subscriptions. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on Your School Channel, Cable 2.